Of course, I think we've all been looking forward to this long weekend because 2015 has truly been a busy year on all fronts. But now the problem with long weekends like this is that road users going on holiday usually suffer from something that they call get there-itis. They want to get to their destination as soon as possible, which sometimes can lead to disasters on the road. And here to give us some tips on how to be safe on our roads out there is Siphesihle Dube, who is the spokesperson for the Western Cape MEC of Transport and Public Works. Always good to have you here, sir.
Good to be on the show. Good to be on the show.
Now, when it comes to planning and obviously trying to be as safe as possible on the road, it usually starts before you even get on the road, right?
Yeah.
So what tips do you have for drivers out there and those who will be going on holiday?
Yeah, that's very, very important. Planning. Make sure that your vehicles are checked. Make sure that you don't plan to stack them up with too much.
Yeah.
If you're going to have a lot that you're carrying with you, make sure you have a trailer. But it's very, very important that you plan your trips accordingly, knowing that there'll be increased traffic volumes along all routes across the country.
Yeah, and I mean, especially when you consider driving fatigue, that you know that if you're going to be driving a long route, plan where your stops are going to be, right?
Yeah, definitely. Plan where your stops are going to be. Make sure that they are every 2 hours or at least every 200 kilometers. Just make sure that you are very, very well rested and that you're not in any rush to get to your destination.
Yeah. And with that said, what are your tips then for when you're already on the road and you have the family there and the excitement and the fun is there and you're heading to your destination?
Well, the first thing, when you all get in, to make sure you're all buckled up, you're all strapped in, ready for the journey ahead, to not speed, to adhere to all the speed limitations. There'll be different various speeds along your route, to keep to those limitations, if not less. Those are just guidelines, to make sure that you drive safely and to be considerate of all other road users on the road, and over and above that, to make sure that you're rested at every juncture.
Rather leave earlier if you want to get there earlier, right? Instead of trying to speed through all the way. Now, the Department of Transport has introduced a new regulation regarding car seats for children. So what do parents need to know regarding this new law?
Well, the new law now that comes into effect at the end of the month means, which hadn't existed before, that infants that are infants from 0 to 3 years old are now covered by the law. They're now will be required by law to be restrained in appropriate restraints, and that the appropriate restraints for that age group are rear-facing car seats in the vehicle.
Okay.
Because now that it's law, it will attach with it a penalty if parents are not doing that. For all the children that are in the vehicle, it's very, very welcome. This new amendment. We hadn't had this law before, and it just means more and more parents will ideally buckle up their children. We know that when people are ejected from vehicles, that's usually what happens to children in crashes. When they're ejected from vehicles, there's a 75% chance of them dying when that happens. So we're very excited that this is coming to effect. Our traffic law enforcement officers are currently preparing for that, and they'll be on the lookout for parents and making sure that they have their children, their infant children, very, very small, buckled up.
So between 0 and 3 years old, strict requirement that you have a rear-facing child seat.
Yes.
Okay. And let's talk about the department's campaign called Operation Zero. What exactly is that and what is the plan? Yeah,
well, the ultimate aim of the plan is to have 0 fatalities over this long weekend. It's an ambitious goal, but it's certainly one that we're working towards. And we're doing so strategically this year. We've identified hotspots across the province where we know from crash data that incidences do happen. We've dedicated resources to those areas. We're using average speed over distance camera technology, not only to encourage motorists to slow down in those periods or in those periods where the system is, but we're also using this system intelligently to notify us of long-distance public transport vehicles that are traveling out of the province and back, and if they're doing so very quickly, they're going to alert the provincial traffic officials to stop them where they are and to force them to have a rest.
And then do you have a message to all of our viewers across the province and even across South Africa from the department?
Yes, we ultimately hope that they all get safely home wherever they're going to and they come back. As we said before, they definitely must plan. This should be a joyous time. It shouldn't be a time where we're suffering any more carnage than is necessary on the road.
Fantastic. Sir, thank you very much. Always good to have you here. And have a lovely long weekend.
Thank you very much.
You're only getting back to your office on Monday.
Yeah.
All right, well, wherever you are, please make sure that you take safety as your #1 priority, especially while traveling around to your holiday destinations.